Familiar Wilson's Media. Relationships are the story.
You are made of meat, my friend, all the way down.
The following podcast uses words like and also. If you're not into any of that shit, then now's your chance.
3, 2, 1.
Run.
Super familiar with Wilsons. Did it!
Welcome to Super Familiar with the Wilsons. I'm Amanda.
And yet again, the church bells ring out in celebration that the Wilsons are back.
Are we the Church of Wilson now? Because I don't want to be.
No. We live down the street from the Church
We
of
do.
Wilson. Yeah.
It's true.
It's been a weekend already. We had a lovely Saturday. I want to jump right into it. How many of you folks out there have ever been to a farmer's market? Is that a thing you have in your town? We have one of those in our town.
Everybody has farmers markets.
Do they? Does everyone have farmers markets?
Everyone around the world has farmers markets. I don't know what they call them, but everybody has this conceit where the people locally growing things come and bring their wares and vegetables and things to the stalls, and we all line up and buy the things.
Could someone come? I mean, could someone come? Well, I mean, that's up to them.
That is a different podcast.
It would be a booth with curtains around it.
Oh my God, please move along.
Well, but see, that kind of goes along with what I'm saying. Are they regulated, or could you just, spit into a bowl and sell it? I mean,
yes, I think that you can.
Yes.
Yes, I think that they are not regulated. Yes, I think that you can just sell whatever. For example,
go ahead.
I recently went to a smaller farmer's market on the other side of town, and there was a person called the Swamp Witch, and she was...
Wait. Stop right there. Describe the Swamp Witch, please.
Well, I mean, I'm not being disparaging at all, because it's a local business, autistic-run business.
Oh, okay,
it's very, like, a
way
very
to make
good...
me feel like an idiot. Should we bail on this right now?
No, what I'm saying is you should support the Swamp Witch, is what I'm telling you.
Okay.
She does herbal teas.
Okay, very good.
And
don't say anything bad about it.
And I'm not, but so I bought something called Her Harmony, and I was talking to her about it, and she said that she went through menopause early, like in her 30s, and none of the medical people would believe her, even though there was a history of early menopause in her family. And so getting treatment or hormone replacement wasn't a thing that was available to her. So she went in search of what natural things could help. So she's created this tea blend with ashwagandha and other things that are supposed to help regulate it. And I bought it. And I did notice, though, there is a disclaimer that says this is a cottage industry. There is no FDA regulations. So I think you just have to put a disclaimer on there that it's not regulated.
People are selling fruit and veg, and I saw raw milk. Like, there's some sort of controversy with raw milk, isn't there?
Because the pasteurization kills the bacteria and the things that are supposed to be bad for you, but then people also say that it gets rid of all of the nutrients in it.
Oh, if you pasteurize it.
Yes.
I guess my point is that I feel like we as a society, we as a country are definitely going backwards. And the farmer's market gives me a vibe of Dark Ages, village market, people with their donkeys and their shit everywhere, and the goose are wandering around. And may I please have this apple?
Except that at our farmer's market, there aren't geese. There are 7,000 million dogs.
Yes. But anyway, we did have a lovely time at this farmer's market. I would encourage you to do it. It's a great time to
You're not selling it well, though, friend. It reminds me of the Dark Ages, but I encourage you to do it. And maybe somebody spit in a bowl.
Well, I'm not saying that you drink the spit in the bowl. It's like a sociological thing. The positives of it are that if you go, and even if you don't buy anything, it's just like a nice time to be with people and watch people and see the wares, especially if the weather is pleasant, which it was yesterday. This was a farmer's market at a place here in town called Hale Plantation, which has undertones, actually, now that I think about it.
I think we're supposed to call it Village, Hale Village.
Hale Village, have they changed it now?
No, that we were in the village portion of.
One thing that I noticed at the farmer's market, and then later on in the day we went to an art show or an art festival, is there's a lot more people doing pottery these days. Saw a lot of pottery booths. Now, last year we were at the farmer's market, and I bought a really wonderful mug, coffee mug. It was like hourglass shape. It was big at the bottom, had a nice waist, and then came back up at the top. I loved this mug. It was handmade. It was one of a kind, and that was my mug, and I was so happy to have it until I dropped the damn thing and broke it. And as I was going through and looking at all these pottery booths yesterday, I was like, I need to get me a mug. And I intentionally didn't buy it because I broke the first mug.
So you don't want to relive that. It was really cool because at the farmer's market, the guy had his pottery wheel and was creating there, and that was super fun to watch.
But it's like one of those things where, like, if I unintentionally kill the pet goldfish,
oh Lord, you're not going to buy another goldfish.
Flushing it and then going out and buying another goldfish. It's just, I don't know. I felt like if I buy this, I'm definitely going to break. Is that bad thinking? Should I not do that? Am I manifesting there?
I think you might be.
Well,
maybe it's also realism because pottery isn't Cheap. Because I mean, this is someone's hard
what? What are we buying here?
Hard earned, hard won, hard work. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but this is Anyway, I don't know. Where are the church bells? Play those again.
Did you just wake up?
I did actually just wake up about an hour ago and then just spent a weird amount of time, really invested 22 minutes of my life in a Lego reenactment of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, God.
But I was really into it. Like 5 minutes before it was over, the 8-year-old looked at me and said, I'm not really into this anymore. I was like, no, I'm seeing this through. It was sunk cost fallacy or whatever that's called. Like I had already spent 20 minutes. We were going to finish the damn thing.
So anyway, farmer's market.
Yeah, but no, it was fun. I loved it. I mean, we got some greens, some lettuce, some kale, and then a lovely rosemary bread. And I also like it because it affords you the opportunity to buy local, to buy a small business. I try to, buy from people who might be marginalized by our society right now. And so it was really, really nice. And there's a playground and, the 8-year-old played and we had some local roasted coffee and the weather was lovely. So I really enjoyed it. And then we went to the art festival and had a lovely lunch. It was a really great day.
I bought tomatoes they weren't off, but they were older tomatoes. They had bruises and stuff. And the person selling them had labeled them as tomatoes for cooking only. I'm like, well, that's an interesting idea. So I got these tomatoes. There's like maybe 10 or 15. And I cut them up and I made homemade for the first time tomato sauce.
It was the best tomato sauce I've ever had.
I have never tasted tomato sauce like that, which tells me that when I've been in a restaurant and they've said that they have their own homemade tomato sauce, that it's been a damn lie from the pit of hell.
Or they, like the company has a recipe for it and they've batch made it somewhere and frozen it and shipped it.
So this tomato sauce that I made was fresh. It was light. It was like no other tomato sauce I've ever had.
We had
so good.
Such a lovely dinner last night and you cooked it and it was such a treat. So we bought spinach fettuccine from a vendor, right?
Handmade, still had the fingerprints on it.
Yeah, hand pulled spinach fettuccine. And then you bought these tomatoes, made this tomato sauce. We had that rosemary bread. I had a bottle of red wine, just had one glass. It was so lovely.
And the food felt fresh. It didn't feel processed. Like I felt lighter.
Yeah. The portions were smaller just based on the amount of pasta that we bought, but I didn't feel like I wasn't satisfied. Like I felt satiated.
It was good. It was very good. Then we stopped and got some boiled peanuts from this lady by the side of the road.
I just remembered about these boiled peanuts and I'm so excited to go have them for breakfast when we're done here.
She gave us the boiled peanuts in a single-use plastic Publix bag.
Which is not unusual for getting boiled peanuts off the side of the road. I grew up getting boiled peanuts off the side of the road. You did not. Boiled peanuts are a very big part of my childhood.
Let me tell you how I grew up. In Miami, by the side of the road, you could get... So do you know those plastic tubes that newspapers come in, right? Thin plastic bags, right?
Yeah.
People would fill those up with all sorts of shit and walk up and down the road in Miami selling them.
Like while you're at a red light?
Yes, like oranges, like kumquats or loquats, shrimp.
No, in a bag?
Oh, roadside shrimp is a thing in Miami.
Did you ever buy it?
Oh, fuck no. Are you kidding me?
I was going to say, no, that's got to be bad news.
Yes, no, it would be retrospectively my last meal, and I would not want that.
No.
So I've learned no lessons in my life, and I bought boiled peanuts from this very charming lady just by the side of the road, selling out of her truck.
Yeah, no, she had tons of produce.
Did you notice she was wearing a mask That also was very suspicious.
I actually didn't notice she was wearing a mask.
She was.
Okay, well, maybe she doesn't want the rest of our germs. We bought plums, and there was a basket of plums for $5, and some of them were mushy, but it's okay. And then we got boiled peanuts, and she had regular, she had Cajun, she had sweet and sour or something, which I've never had before. Sweet and salty. The Cajun ones were really good, but then she was like, can I show you how I do it? And I thought she was just going to show me. No, she gave it to us this way. It was our $3 portion of boiled peanuts, and then she dumped basically corn and onions and potatoes on top of it, so it looked like a crab boil. It looked like a low country boil.
I think that you misunderstood, and she was just asking you to take her trash to the bin.
Her trash is now in my refrigerator.
Could you throw this away for me? I've got some corn cobs. Did you notice that there were bites out of the corn cob?
No, there are not. Get out of here.
That was
no,
her
they're
lunch.
not. No, they're not. But I'm gonna go.
What was that chicken bone doing in there?
I'm gonna go have her trash for breakfast when we're done recording. That is gonna happen.
And then we're walking through the art festival, which is another part of town. Amanda looks right at these people selling.
No, don't tell this story.
She looks right at these people selling Girl Scout cookies as they were about to say, how are you doing, ma'am? And she says, I don't want to hear from you.
Okay.
Right to this lady's face.
I did unfortunately look right at the lady as I said it, but I was not saying it to her. I was saying it to the 8-year-old because he was grumping that we were going to go eat. Like, you and I were hungry, or I was hungry, and he was saying, I don't want to eat, I want to go home, because whenever we're out, he just wants to be home with his screens. And he was starting to fuss, and I said to him, I don't want to hear it from you. I don't want to hear from you about this. But I happened to make eye contact with the very nice mom of a Girl Scout trying to sell Girl Scout cookies exactly when I said it. So it looks like and she just started laughing, thankfully. And I was like, oh, I was so mortified. I was so embarrassed.
I wish I'd recorded even the aftermath because it was so funny.
I just stood there and had to keep saying, I'm so sorry. I was not talking to you. And she was laughing. She was like, well, I thought you had maybe like a problem with Girl Scout, like an addiction. I said, I do. Like, I do have a problem, and I do. We already have Thin Mints in the freezer, but I am not that rude. I am so sorry. And she was like, I thought maybe you just had your spiel down every time you saw a Girl Scout.
Yeah, it was so freaking
it was
funny.
So embarrassing.
So funny. So lovely day yesterday. Let's skip very quickly right now. I'm going to tell you what to do.
No one likes to be told what to do.
Go to farmers markets or art festivals. Go to outdoor things, especially if they're in the spring, because there's a lot of things in the spring like that, outdoor things that you can enjoy. Go do that. Go be out amongst the people and the hoi polloi and the commoners and just get to know them. The Wilsons, we usually spend time in our 25-room mansion, and it's nice to mix with the common people sometimes.
Please tell the people we do not have a 25-room mansion.
We added on 37.
Okay.
I've been chatting with our friend John Watson, who lives in Scotland. Oh, that almost rhymes. I should do a poem about that.
Our friend John Watson, who lives in Scotland. Yeah, okay.
I'm going to do a poem about John. It's going to be good. You're not going to be able to understand half of it. So speaking of that, we have this segment that we've done on the show before. Haven't done it in a little bit, where we have John send us a Scottish phrase, and we try to interpret it. Now, I say Scottish phrase. It's English, theoretically, that he's speaking, but not always the easiest to understand. So are you ready, audience, and also Amanda Wilson, to hear our good friend John the Scot say something, and then you got to try to interpret it?
I'm going to go ahead. Yes, I'm ready for it, because I'm always love to hear John speak, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you I won't know what he's saying.
Okay, so what I want you to do, though, is get it in your mind if you think you know what it is, but we will give the answer next week.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Here's John.
That's giving me the book.
What?
Ready? Here,
Yeah.
let's hear it again. One more time.
That's giving me the book.
Yeah, that's not English. You know who that is? That's Beaker from the Muppets. What?
Beaker after puberty sounds like that.
Yes. I have no... John, I'm not trying to take the piss. I just... it's really hard to understand it with your thick brogue, and I also don't know those words.
What if he doesn't understand us? What if to him our accents are, these American accents, I don't understand it.
I mean, we probably sound uneducated. Don't American accents sound uneducated to folks
some
from
Americans
the rest of the world?
sound uneducated. So, all right. So if you think you know what it is John is trying to tell us, Email us at familiarwilsons@gmail.com. Help us out because I genuinely don't know what that is.
Hello there, this is Dan from Casting Views. Did you know that the Slinky, penicillin and Play-Doh were all accidental successes? And did you know that the Salmon Act 1986 is a UK law that makes it illegal to handle salmon in suspicious circumstances? Well, if you listened to my podcast, you would have heard all this and a lot more. So why not tune in every Sunday for a new episode of Casting Views?
Can you check your phone and see if we've gotten any more lawn advice from the Sausage King? The Sausage Ball King?
No. I do have an inquest out to the Sausage Ball King through his daughter, who is my friend. And I did text her yesterday and ask for the best time for us to get the ornamental peanut and the best way to get it. So she is going to inquire of him.
This is the thing I never imagined in my life, that I would be getting gardening help and advice from the Sausage Ball King.
Well, we should acknowledge that the Sausage Ball King, before he retired, he became the Sausage Ball King and is currently a professor emeritus in the College of Agriculture at the university here, which is one of the biggest and best in the country. So this man has a PhD and was a professor in grasses and things like ground cover for his whole life.
All I know is that in 3 months, our lawn is going to look great,
It
and
better.
strangely, everything's going to smell like bacon.
Why?
So,
Oh,
I
because
don't
of the
know.
Sausage Ball King. Get out of here. But we're getting something called ornamental peanut, which weirdly has no peanuts. It's just grass
We should have just gotten them in a bag from
with
Sheila.
some corn cobs.
That's right. So another thing we did, we're going to do, I guess, another Gainesville
Yeah, I
restaurant
was going to
review.
wonder
Here
if
we
you were
go.
going to.
Do. We should have a song for that. Maybe I have already edited in a song, if I had the strength and energy to do that. So we'll
Okay,
see.
We'll see.
So we went to this place called Esperanza. Now, in Spanish, Esperanza apparently means hope or expectation.
Oh,
and
love it.
So we did have an expectation that it would be interesting food. It is called a Floribian restaurant. I'm guessing that's a combination between the words Florida and Caribbean.
I think that's a solid bet.
Yeah. But that's an uncomfortable sounding word to me.
It sounds like a Caribbean, Florida-based. You are a
Disease of the
strange
foot,
human.
Floribian.
No,
It's a weird sounding
strange
word.
human. Go ahead.
So we sat down, and maybe the setting had a part to do with how much we enjoyed it, because it was a nice cool day and we were outside and the sun was shining, but it wasn't too hot.
And the courtyard had a fountain right next to it. It was lovely.
It felt very not Gainesville,
Yeah.
which basically translates to meaning I didn't hear anyone talking about pub subs and no one was vaping or wearing jorts.
Yes,
so
that.
very un-Gainesville, very almost city feeling,
Yes.
and the food was good.
The food was really
It
good.
was a solid like 7.5. That food.
Best yuca frita I've ever had. I love fried yuca. It's a yuca is a root and it's cut up and then deep fried like you would a potato, but it's thicker and it's typically served with a dipping sauce. And I've had it in lots of different places, and this was absolutely the best yuca frita I've ever had.
So we are confident enough to recommend this place.
Yeah.
If you go to the Thornbrook Shopping Center in Gainesville, you visit Esperanza and you will enjoy it. And the staff was very nice. They were a little overrun with this festival. I guess they didn't
anticipate the turnout.
anticipate. I guess they're new. Like I'd never seen them before, so maybe they've not been through one. But they were very, very nice about it. And listen, all I need is for the serving staff to be honest. Like, hey, we're not quite staffed the way we thought we needed to be. Then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm good. I'm ready. So.
Well, and I felt so bad because they kept apologizing. I'm like, we're good. Like, we didn't, And then the one server said, I know, people are yelling. I'm like, I'm so sorry because I got really annoyed when we were in Atlanta earlier this week. So are we going to talk about our Atlanta trip later? But I got really annoyed because we were at a restaurant in the hotel right when it opened and they had one server, but they kept seating all the tables. And that's what annoyed me. Not that the one server was doing their very best, but we were the second table to be sat and we didn't get our food for 56 minutes and I had to be somewhere. And so that was frustrating to me, but I was chill yesterday. I didn't have to be anywhere. And so it was lovely.
Oh, you were very hangry before eating though. You get very, very hangry when you don't eat.
I do. I was still fasting.
That's
My fast
exactly
wasn't
the point
over.
where you yelled at that woman and said, "I don't want to hear from you."
I was yelling at our child, to be clear.
Oh, that's better.
She got
Okay,
in the
very
way.
good. Let's put
She
that
got
on.
in the path of me yelling at our
Let's
child.
put that on a T-shirt. Super familiar with the Wilsons. I was yelling at my child, and that woman got in the way.
Yes.
Speaking of our child now has developed a fear of Olive Garden. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing,
really
but
scared of
it's
Olive
just a fact.
He's really scared of and it's so funny because he had never eaten an Olive Garden. They were doing all these commercials. We were watching some show. I don't know if it was like The Voice or whatever, but it was a repetitive commercial, and he was, I really want to go to Olive Garden. And at the time, Alfredo sauce was his favorite pasta sauce because I make a homemade Alfredo sauce.
Yeah.
And he really likes my homemade Alfredo sauce. And so he was like, oh, they have it at Olive Garden. I want to go. And we went after soccer, and I think he had snack, like the soccer snacks on the
Yeah.
way there. So he was already kind of full, probably ate a ton of breadsticks, and then tried to eat his fettuccine Alfredo and got so sick. I mean, but not like he wasn't throwing up, but it's just his stomach hurt for the rest of the day. And now he is convinced that Olive Garden hates him.
Yeah, he's scared of it in the same way that if a child has a scary experience with a clown at a children's party,
Yeah.
and then they're just scared of clowns.
Yeah.
Our child now is just scared of Olive Gardens.
Yes, he really. We were talking about eating yesterday. He's like, I just don't. No, that wasn't even it. I said something and he thought I said Olive Garden. He was like, did you say Olive Garden? Like it's a trigger. I'm like, no one's talking about Olive Garden.
But this kid in general doesn't let go of things, and his
No,
memory
no,
is
he holds a grudge.
no, his memory is ridiculous. But I gotta remember that he's only little. And so for him, that Olive Garden debacle was a large part of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still new to this planet.
Just wait until he reaches his 50s and doesn't remember, the bad thing that happened last night because whatever the hell, I'm several decades in. It doesn't matter to me or
but
whatever.
he might still be mad at Olive Garden.
Yeah, that's probably true. That would be a weird thing to take into your adulthood. A fear of Olive Garden. Like I get fear of snakes and fear of clowns, like I said, or
It's
spiders.
just fear of
If that's
breadsticks
like-
and never-ending pasta bowls.
That'd make for some nightmare fuel, though. The never-ending pasta bowl that buried
Just
me.
you keep eating and you keep having to eat it, eat it, eat it. Oh God, so good.
What time is it? Game time. Boom.
That music means it's game time, and that song, it is my favorite here on Super Familiar with the Wilsons, is by our son ACJW. So
AJCW.
AJCW.
Jesus
See,
Christ.
I can't even do it right.
AJCW is our son, and he is a musician, and his stuff's available on all the streaming platforms. AJCW.
Thank you. Don't make me do things if I don't know how to do them right.
I mean, in fairness, that's not his given name. So
Right. So,
it's not-
right. It's not like I call him the wrong name all the time. Actually, though, you probably switch their names around more than I do.
Yeah, well, anyway, moving on.
All right, mostly we just called the little one the dog's name a lot. Okay, so we're going to play flashbacks. We were in Atlanta this week, and we had a really good time. Nothing major. We went to the World of Coke, and Winthrop, the 8-year-old, lived his very, very best life because we don't let him have caffeine. I mean, he'll like a sip of something, but the most he can get is like Sprite when we're out. And so we turned him loose in the tasting room, and he could just taste whatever the hell he wanted. And it was his best 30 minutes. Josh is not so much. You had like 3 sips of something. We're like, I feel sick.
Yeah, no, I don't drink. I don't drink.
You don't
sweet
drink sweet
that
drinks,
much.
yeah. So you were done. But oh God, it was the best thing that ever happened to him. And it was funny because we were going through, and Josh and I are like looking at the Coke memorabilia and kind of being like, oh, do you remember this from the 80s? And all Winthrop can do is just, can we go to the tasting room? He was just like so jonesing to get up there. Best thing that ever happened. You took him to the Children's Museum. It was a nice experience, right? I worked, but I did notice that a lot of Josh's time was spent playing New York Times puzzles. So Connections is a thing that you've really gotten into. Do you want to explain the conceit behind Connections in case people want to go play it?
Connections is a game where they give you 16 words, and God, this sounds boring. Even as I describe it, it sounds like what is wrong with me? They give you 16 words, and you're supposed to group them in groups of 4 by category, but they don't tell you what the category is. And so I find it very interesting. By the way, the hotel that we stayed in Atlanta, the Marriott Marquis,
Downtown. Yep.
was cool because it's where they filmed part of the Hunger Games and where they filmed part of Loki.
Yeah.
The MCU TV series.
It's
so that was pretty neat.
Really cool. It boasts, I think, at one point the world's largest atrium. Construction's happening all the time, so I don't know if it still is, but it looks almost like a vertebrae. Like the elevators go like up 55 stories, and then off of it come all of the interior balconies of the hotel rooms. Super interesting, really cool. We spent most of our time in the hotel, lots to do. But you played Connections. You're also playing something called Strands, New York Times. You're also playing Wordle. So we will bring back my favorite New York Times game, Flashback.
Not a sponsor.
For those of you who are new, Flashback is I'm going to give Josh 8 things that have happened in history, and he has to put them on a timeline. And sometimes he's really good and sometimes he's rubbish. So let's see how he goes today.
So if you want to play along, go grab yourself a pen or pencil and a piece of paper so you can see where you are. You can put the things on the timeline. And the thing that I think gets lost on some people, because this is a phone-based game, really what it does is it gives you the first event, it tells you, right? It tells you what it is and when it is, so that the successive events you're dragging with your finger either before that one or after that one, and then you're building this timeline. I'm doing this just paper and pen. So instead of just saying, oh, this is before or after or whatever, what I'm doing is I'm trying to guess the actual date. So that's how we've adapted this using, metrics and laboratory tested methods so that you would enjoy it.
Look at the Cardinals back.
Oh my God, please.
All right. See, that's how bored I was with what you were talking about. All right. Ready?
Jesus.
The very first thing, so again, if you're at Flashback, they'll tell you when this happens, but Josh is going to try to guess. An army of Germanic warriors loots Rome, plundering buildings and art. They are known as Vandals. Is that where the term comes from?
Yes. I don't know anything about ancient Rome. So we're going to assume, though, that it's around the turn of the BC and the AD and the BCE or whatever. So we're going to say 100 BCE.
All right. So it is 455 ACE AD. What is the new one I'm supposed to say?
BCE. No.
The new one.
CE. I'm sorry.
Is that what you meant?
No, I'm screwing this all up. So
Yeah.
it's BC and AD, right?
Right, but the AD is something else too, though, now, isn't it?
Right, it is. But now what you're supposed to call it is BCE and CE.
Okay,
BCE is before the Common Era, and CE is the Common Era.
got it. 455 CE is when this has happened to us. But I mean, you were close enough. Okay. Oh, Lord. Words I can't say. A French polymath. What does that even mean? What's a polymath?
Poly's many and math is math. Many numbers. He's several ages. I don't know.
A French polymath, Benoit Mandelbrot, uses a computer to visualize shapes that appear infinitely complex, which he calls fractals. Before or after the army of Germanic warriors loots Rome? See, this game is actually much easier when you play it on the phone. Josh makes it harder on himself. What did you just Google?
A polymath is a person of great or varied learning.
Got it. Okay.
A person
that's
with
nice.
extraordinarily broad and comprehensive knowledge.
Okay, well, Benoit had broad and comprehensive knowledge. He visualized shapes that appear infinitely complex, which he calls fractals.
All right, I'm going to put that 1965 fractals.
All right, let's drop it. After the Vandals, 1980. So still correct. You got it in the right place. All right. All right, your third one. Partly fearing annexation or attacks by the United States after the Civil War, Britain unites several colonies into a new country. Do you know what that country is?
Canada?
Canada.
Ooh, so when did Canada happen? All right, well, I'm going to say that is 1800 Canada.
1867. All right, good job. You're still doing well.
All right.
All right, distraught
The
about...
land of my birth, Canada.
That's right. Distraught about his sick brother, Ronald Herrick says he'd give his kidney to help him. It leads to the first successful kidney transplant.
Oh, jeez.
So somebody just was like, I'll give you my kidney. Like they hadn't thought about that before. And he's like, this person's kidneys are failing. I'll give him my kidney. And they're like, oh, that's interesting. Let's figure out how to do that.
I mean, isn't that usually science or technological breakthroughs are because of have to, not because of want to.
Yes.
So
I don't know why. It just never occurred to me that this is how this happened.
all right, I have no idea. It's probably going to be something stupid like, 500 BC or some nonsense, but I'm going to say
Ronald Herrick did not live in 500 BCE. No one was named Ronald in 500 BCE.
Ronaldus Herricus.
Yes.
I'm going to say 1910.
All right. 1954. Oh, wow. A lot
That
later than
late,
you thought. Yeah. So we have good friends that are married, and our good friend donated his kidney to his husband. Like they were a match right away, and it saved his husband's life. And so this is really close to us, and
Is that
really
like
an awesome thing.
Like, can you? What am I asking? Is that unusual? Like
To be a match?
that you would match with just a random person, much less the person that you are married to?
Yeah, so
Was that, like, statistically speaking, is that common or not common?
And I think it's not common, but I mean, I'm not. That's speaking.
Are we speaking out of our ignorance?
I just was gonna say I'm speaking out of my ignorance. I can't even say the word. I just remember when the one friend started having kidney failure. There was our other friend went through a really big like social media push of please go get checked, please see if you're a match. So there was a lot of push of trying to find a match before he had even gotten tested. And so I think that it's not like just common to match with someone, because there was a lot of people were going and getting tested, and they were, trying to widen the pool of kidneys to be able to choose from. And you're looking it up.
No, I have an answer because this is what I'm really curious about. So that apparently is very, very rare.
Yeah.
You have to be blood type compatible, and then also, or like have the universal donor, like type O. And then AB recipients can receive from any type. You have to have a strong HLA match, which is a leukocyte antigen. They say siblings have about a 25% chance of being a perfect match. So again, these were hopefully not related people,
not related people
who were married. And even with siblings, it's only 25% chance.
Yeah.
And then cross-match testing, even if the blood type and HLA match, the recipient's immune system may still react against the donor's kidney.
Yeah, and I think we're... he just posted about it the other day. I think it's 5 years out
It's amazing.
post-transplant. But yeah, it was just really surprising to everyone, because everybody, it was just, please go get tested, please see if you're a match. And then once everybody was getting tested and his results came through, it was just... he happened to be the match.
That's incredible. Okay,
Yeah.
back to the game.
All right.
1954 was the first kidney
Yes.
transplant.
Yes. Al-Kindi, one of the first philosophers from the Islamic Golden Age, writes an early attempt to tackle an enduring question. Why is the sky blue?
I'm sorry. This dude called Al. It's Al-Kindi?
It's hyphenated. AL-KINDI. Al-Kindi.
Al the philosopher.
No, maybe it's Al-Kindi then? Maybe I'm saying it incorrectly.
I don't know. Why is the sky blue?
But, I mean, I just thought some toddler just asked it one day and the rest of them started asking it. I didn't realize that this has been like an enduring question from the Islamic Golden Age.
I'm going to say 500 BCE.
All right, so before the Vandals.
Before the Vandals. Then the Vandals came in.
Incorrect, but close.
Damn.
860 CE.
Oh, I got that one. I got one wrong. Damn
You
it.
did.
860. Okay. So after the Vandals, this guy comes around and he redeems everything.
Wants to know
Makes
why the
it all
sky is
better.
blue.
Go ahead.
But there's a long period of time, about 1,000 years between that and when Canada was made. Okay. Fed up with papal intrigue and politics. Papal? I like papal better. Fed up with papal intrigue and politics, Pope Celestine V declares that popes can, in fact, resign. He promptly quits to return to life as a hermit. It's just like,
That is
we didn't have a
brilliant.
rule. I made a rule. I can quit. Bye.
Okay, I'm going to say that was 1500, this papal quitting.
All right. So after Why is the Sky Blue, but before Canada.
Yep.
Correct, but it was 1294.
1294. I remember it well.
All right, 3 more. The artist Frederic Bartholdi poses a statue of a torch-holding woman for this, or proposes, a statue of a torch-holding woman for the Suez Canal. Egypt rejects the idea. It becomes the Statue of Liberty.
You are kidding me.
Nope.
I did not know where that would end. That's very interesting. Imagine the Statue of Liberty in Egypt, Suez Canal.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Let's see. It's interesting, though, because the Washington Monument feels like it has a very Egyptian, Middle Eastern feel.
It looks like a very skinny pyramid.
What if that's also here by mistake?
It's a tall, skinny pyramid. It might be.
It's like Amazon dropped off the monument at the wrong place. Yep. They put a 3 instead of a 7 in the address, and then it's in Washington, D.C. We're going to say Suez Canal. I really don't know. We're going to say 1970s for that mess.
Oh, honey, when did we get the Statue of Liberty?
Oh, God, I'm an idiot. I was thinking about something else. No, I'm a moron.
You're not. You just weren't thinking.
I wasn't thinking. I latched onto Suez and not to Statue of Liberty. Okay. 1969? No, I'm kidding.
I was like, that's only 1 year different.
I don't know. I don't like this particular quiz because it's a bunch of stuff that feels packed really close together. I'm going to say 1900 because I don't know when we got
I actually think it was in either the late 1700s or the early 1800s. But
yeah, I don't know how
so
long
you're saying after Canada, but before the first kidney transplant.
Yes.
Okay. 1886. Oh, well, you got it on the right spot because it was only 19 years after Canada, but I thought it was earlier than that. Okay. All right. 2 more. Oh, why do we give me so many words I don't want to say? In Paris, Catherine de Medici creates the Tuileries Garden and Palace. It later hosts a circular promenade of hundreds of horses called a carousel. I did know that the carousels were invented in Paris.
1500.
All right. Do we had motors in 1500 or somebody just running around spinning it like they do at the medieval fair?
They had people for that.
1564, friend. Good job. All right, last one. Ready?
Yes.
I'm not gonna say this correctly. The Upano, Upano people began making dense networks of housing, roads, and farms, establishing some of the first known cities in the Amazon rainforest. I wonder if they had farmers markets.
They were lousy with farmers markets. I'm gonna say 300.
All right, so before the Vandals.
Yes.
500 BCE. So you were way off on your guess, but you got it in the correct spot of the timeline. You got 7 of 8 events correct on this week's flashback.
I felt like I was really weak. Like, I didn't like that one. I did not like that one because a bunch of stuff felt really clustered together. I was flustered. I totally blew the Statue of Liberty thing. If you hadn't said anything, I would have just, bombed that one. So I didn't feel good about this one. How did you do, friends? You had to have done better than me, or at least you had to have had a better idea than I did because I was just fumbling around like a teenager in the dark.
Trying to do a Floribian move.
That's right.
With your foot. So what I like about the flashback is once you're done, you can go see like the reason why these events are picked. This was from March 1st. So happy March, everyone. Is it has something to do with current events right now. And I'm looking and the connection between Canada is that the sales of the Canadian flag have surged recently.
Well, yeah. Canadian nationalism, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean like Canadian sense of national pride has certainly been amplified after being threatened to be made the 51st state. So,
I met someone.
Which, by the way, the people in Puerto Rico must be really annoyed because they haven't been made a state yet. And then Canada's just going to jump them in line and be the 51st state.
And what a giant state that would be.
You'd have to make several smaller states, I would say.
No, Canada, keep your own identity. I'm sure they want to. I met somebody from Canada this week at the conference, and I was talking with her, and telling her about, you know, how you were born in British Columbia and that you could have dual citizenship. And she was saying, you know, she was like, you're welcome anytime. We're very friendly, blah, blah. She said, actually, I was a little bit nervous about coming to the States and to this conference. And everyone has been basically saying we all seem more sane than what the world is thinking that we are. So I said, please go back and tell everybody that it's not all us. Go buy a Canadian flag.
All right, Amanda, that's all there is. There is no more. It's a mess. What do you think of it?
I mean, it is a mess, but so are we. So, you know, we want to be authentic and we want to be living our real lives. There is no like Instagram highlight reel here. We are a mess. I like birds. I bought somebody's trash for lunch. That's what you get.
I feel like there's several different ways to listen to a podcast. One is to like make you feel better because the people draw you in and, you know, they make you feel like a part of their family. Another way is to hear someone else's life and think, oh, thank God I'm not that messed up.
Right. I didn't yell at some poor Girl Scout cookie mom yesterday.
All right. So that's my advice to you. Please don't yell at Girl Scout cookie moms.
And go be kind.
Bye.
Bye.